So welcome to this introductory educational video on brainspotting. Brainspotting is an innovative brain-based therapy used to treat trauma, PTSD, anxiety, and a wide range of emotional and the physiological conditions. So this is going to cover what brainspotting is, how it differs from EMDR, a brief history of how brainspotting began, a bit about the background of the developer, Dr. David Grand, what a brainspot actually refers to, how brainspotting supports trauma reprocessing, why it is used in PTSD treatment, what clients can expect in a typical session, and the current benefits and current applications of the modality. So please note that this video is purely educational and does not replace therapy. Its purpose is to give you a clear, simple blueprint for understanding brainspotting as a treatment so that you can make an informed decision in consultation with a licensed mental health provider in your state about whether it might be right and helpful for you. So what is brainspotting? Well, brainspotting is a mind-body neurobiologically informed therapy developed in 2003 by Dr. David Grand. It is based on the idea that the position of the eyes can help locate, access, and process unprocessed trauma stored in the subcortical regions of the brain. In brainspotting, a brain spot refers to a specific eye position that correlates with a neural pathway holding emotional, somatic, or traumatic material. When a person maintains visual focus near this spot, the brain's natural self-healing processes become more active and efficient. So brainspotting is used for PTSD and trauma, anxiety and stress disorders, somatic symptoms, performance blocks, attachment impacts, chronic overwhelm, dissociation, creative expansion, and general emotional regulation. Again, this is not mental health advice. This is just an overview. Please consult with a licensed mental health provider for more detailed information for your specific concerns. And I will also explain how to find somebody who does use brainspotting. There is a practitioner directory in brainspotting.com, and you can search for somebody in your state. So while brainspotting can be used for personal growth, it is especially known for its impact on trauma symptoms and its ability to work with experiences that may be difficult to verbalize. So brainspotting was discovered and developed by Dr. David Grand, a psychotherapist, an EMDR therapist, and a performance coach. So the origin story is simple and clinical. During an EMDR session with a client, Dr. Grand noticed that the client's eye position seemed to connect with deeper, more intense processing when paused on a specific point. Instead of continuing with standard EMDR, bilateral stimulation, he stayed with the still point, what would later be called the brain spot. So bilateral stimulation is when you move your eyes to the left and to the right, because by moving your eyes, sort of crossing the midpoint and looking left and right, you are engaging the two hemispheres of the brain, and that's why it's bilateral. So in brainspotting, they don't do that, but they stay on the spot. So from that moment, Dr. Grand began observing patterns. So certain eye positions activated deeper processing. Clients accessed trauma stored beneath conscious awareness. The brain continued processing without requiring continuous bilateral stimulation. And the nervous system softened into a more sustained, regulated, reprocessing state. Over time, Dr. Grand developed a full therapeutic model based around the idea that where you look affects how you feel. This phrase is not meant metaphorically. It reflects the neurological observation that eye position corresponds to activation in the midbrain, the limbic system, and the survival networks where trauma is stored. Since then, brainspotting has spread internationally and has been integrated into trauma centers, private practices, hospitals, addiction treatment programs, sports and performance coaching, and somatic therapy clinics. So brainspotting works by accessing the subcortical brain, and that includes areas responsible for survival responses, emotional memory, and procedural memory, systems that do not operate through verbal logic. And trauma is often stored in these subcortical structures. This is why many people with PTSD experience intrusive memories, body sensations, hypervigilance, emotional reactivity, numbing, startle responses, and sleep disturbances. So traditional talk therapy engages the neocortex or thinking brain. This part of the brain is helpful for insight, planning, and cognitive restructuring, but it is not where trauma is held. Brain spotting targets the areas beneath the thinking brain, the regions that process fear, sensory memory, reflexes, and autonomic responses. The mechanism is rooted in three principles. One, eye position and neurobiological activation. So eye position connects with neural networks. A client may look in a specific direction and naturally feel activation. This is the brain spot. Two, dual attunement frame. So brain spotting emphasizes strong attunement between therapist and client, ensuring the nervous system remains regulated enough for processing. Three, focused mindfulness. When the client stays with the brain spot, the body begins processing the trauma in a slow, steady, natural way, without forcing, without relieving, and without requiring verbal narration. Scientific literature suggests that trauma reprocessing is linked to mechanisms such as the thalamus-amygdala processing pathways, reduction in limbic activation, increased prefrontal integration, and parasympathetic engagement. Although research is ongoing, studies and clinical data consistently show meaningful reductions in PTSD symptoms and increases in emotional regulation. So what exactly is a brain spot? So again, a brain spot is a neurobiological point of access in the visual field. So when a client focuses their gaze on the spot, the brain connects to the stored material associated with it. There are several ways to identify a brain spot in the method of brain spotting. So one is called the outside window. And the outside window is when the therapist observes a subtle reflexes such as a blink, a swallow, a freeze, or changes in breathing that occur when the eyes land on an active spot. Inside window. So the inside window is when the client reports internal activation such as an emotion, a sensation, or shift when their gaze moves across a particular point. Then there's gaze spotting. So the client naturally drifts to a spot that feels significant or charged. Rolling brain spotting. So the therapist uses slow sweeping eye movements to locate spots connected to deeper layers of emotional or somatic material. Once the brain spot is identified, the client maintains visual contact with that point. And processing typically occurs through changes in breath, shifts in body temperature, tremors or soft shaking, waves of emotion, deep relaxation, insight emerging naturally, sensations moving or resolving. So brain spotting does not force a memory or narrative. It simply follows the brain's natural self-healing intelligence. So brain spotting versus EMDR. So brain spotting and EMDR are related, but they're not the same. So EMDR uses structured bilateral stimulation, like the eye movements, follows an 8-phase protocol, moves material in sets of eye movements, often works quickly and efficiently for specific traumatic memories. Brain spotting does not require bilateral stimulation. It uses sustained focus on a single spot. It goes deeper into the body's implicit memory. It often works well for complex trauma, chronic overwhelm, somatic symptoms and states with less clear narrative content. Clients who find EMDR too activating or too structured often respond well to brain spotting's more organic, somatic, and attunement-based approach. Both modalities are effective for PTSD, and many clinicians integrate them depending on client needs. So brain spotting for PTSD. So PTSD symptoms are not just emotional, they're also physiological, stored in nonverbal regions of the brain and body. Because of this, many people with PTSD struggle with feeling stuck in fight, flight, fawn, or freeze, experiencing triggers without understanding why, reliving trauma in sensations or flashes, difficulty relaxing, sleep problems, overwhelm, difficulty concentrating. So brain spotting addresses PTSD in 3 ways. So one is direct access to the subcortical trauma storage. So brain spotting connects with the parts of the brain where trauma is stored rather than relying on storytelling or verbal processing. 2, regulation through attunement. So the therapist provides a stabilizing presence, helping the client stay within a tolerable range of activation while the nervous system processes. 3, the brain's self-healing mechanism. So brain spotting activates the innate capacity of the nervous system to reorganize and release stuck survival responses. Research and clinical reports show reductions in intrusive memories, hypervigilance, avoidance, emotional reactivity, somatic symptoms, anxiety and depression, and dissociative responses. So for many clients, brain spotting is effective even when memories are unclear, fragmented, or absent. So what does a typical session look like? Well, a typical brain spotting session will likely include a brief check-in, identifying the focus of the session, scanning the visual field with a pointer, locating the brain spot, maintaining gaze on the spot, allowing the body and brain to process naturally, noticing any shifts in sensation or emotion, closing with grounding and stabilization. Now, clients do not need to describe their trauma in detail. They also do not need to try to make anything happen. Processing occurs organically. More benefits of brain spotting include a reduction in overall PTSD symptoms, reduction in overwhelm and anxiety, decrease in somatic symptoms of anxiety, such as muscle tension, greater emotional regulation, improved sleep, fewer triggers, more resilience and cognitive clarity, increased sense of internal safety, better ability to tolerate stress, and improved access to insight. Because brain spotting works directly with the brain-body system, many clients experience steady improvement over time, even between sessions. So, in closing, brain spotting is a powerful neurobiologically informed therapy that helps people process trauma at the level where trauma is stored. It is not a quick fix and is not a form of hypnosis. Instead, it uses eye position, attunement, and the brain's natural processing capacity to help people heal from PTSD and other forms of emotional or somatic distress. So if you'd like to learn more, there are many educational videos, interviews, and lectures available from Dr. David Grand and from many certified brain spotting trainers worldwide. So the best source of information is the brain spotting website itself, www.brainspotting.com. We will have more videos on this channel, but this is our introductory video to brain spotting.